This week, I'm in Nanaimo, the harbor city. Nanaimo started as a coal mining town, but has grown to be Vancouver Island's second largest city. Its excellent natural harbor is still its centerpiece, and is the place where events happen and visitors congregate. The city still has some reminders of its past. The 150-year-old Bastion is a well-known landmark, and there are some other beautiful heritage buildings in the downtown. Just up the hill, the Old Town is a great place to poke around and explore. Although it has many attractions, Nanaimo's biggest claim to fame has to be the chocolate-covered bar named after it. To learn more about its origins, I'm visiting the City Museum. Among loads of fascinating and fun exhibits, the museum has a corner dedicated to the famous dessert. Sitting comfortably on two giant bars, I asked Jamie Fransman, where was it invented?
Well, the Nanaimo bar was, of course, invented here in Nanaimo. The first recorded recipe was in the 1952 Women's Nanaimo Regional Auxiliary Cookbook. It was a fundraiser cookbook where people donated recipes, and then it was sold as a fundraiser for the hospital. The first recipe was donated by Mrs. Charles Nash, so she's credited as the first inventor of the Nanaimo bar, even though it was under the name Chocolate Square at the time.
Okay.
Yeah.
So when did the actual name Nanaimo bar, or when did it get associated with the town?
It got the name Nanaimo bar the next year in the Edith Adams Cookbook, which was produced by the Vancouver Sun, and it was the first time it was popularly used as the Nanaimo bar.
Now, how strict is the definition of Nanaimo bar here in Nanaimo, obviously?
Here in Nanaimo, the definition of the Nanaimo bar, it has to have 3 layers. It has to have the cookie-type base, the custard in the middle is really what makes it, and then the chocolate coating on top. There's, of course, the ultimate Nanaimo bar recipe tea towel. That was created by Joyce Hardcastle.
This is the award winner.
This is the award winner. This is the ultimate Nanaimo bar. We send these all over the world.
The museum may have the ultimate Nanaimo bar recipe, but that hasn't stopped some interesting local variations. In fact, there is a Nanaimo bar trail around the city, and I'm planning to follow it to sample some of the more interesting options, starting at Mon Petit Chou, which offers a gourmet Nanaimo bar.
I'm all about whole foods and real butter, real products.
Right.
And I make my own pastry cream, and that's this part, which is a pastry cream with caramel, a real caramel, real cream.
So you're really providing, in a sense, a healthier alternative?
It will have some nutritional value. It won't be just empty fat and empty calories. Because it is real cream, it is real nuts, it is real cocoa and everything else. And then the last part is the chocolate ganache, which is a really good quality chocolate ganache.
Yeah, that's poured over. That's way less sweet than I remember.
Yeah.
But really nice, so really, really rich. Everything that you want from a dessert. So I'm definitely going back in for another bite on this one.
Yeah, wonderful.
What do people in Nanaimo eat for breakfast? If they want to try something different, they could visit Smokin' George's Barbecue, my next stop on the Nanaimo Bar Trail.
We have got our maple bacon Nanaimo bar. We've taken the coconut out of the Nanaimo bar, which is traditional Nanaimo bar crust, and we have added graham cracker crust, crumbs, and pretzels.
Okay.
Then we've got a traditional bird's eye custard that we've added maple extract and maple syrup to, a little Canadiana. We've got a dark chocolate that's got a tiny little bit of cayenne in it.
Ooh,
So it's got a little bite to it, a little spice, and then when the chocolate is still wet, we sprinkle it with our own smoked sea salt that we prepare here in the restaurant, and we also put our house-made bacon.
The recipe was dreamed up by one of the restaurant's staff and has won awards locally.
Not too sweet?
Not too sweet. And really nice with that salt. Like salt and chocolate, it's
And then bacon.
a pairing made in heaven. After that unusual breakfast, I'm heading out to sea. Good morning, you must be Jerry. I can't wait I'm due to visit a cannery, and I'm planning to catch some salmon to can. This is my first time salmon fishing, but luckily, I'm out with an expert. Captain Jerry Rupp of Invictus Charters.
It's a little bumpy, so but you're looking for that.
Okay.
And that could be a 30-pounder hooked, not quite aware of what's happening yet.
Right.
So when you touch the rod, all of a sudden it'll go screaming out. So just be ready to be surprised.
And it isn't long till we get a bite.
That's it, Allie. Keep the rod tip up. You're doing fabulous.
I want a big one.
There it is. Keep going, keep going, keep going. There it is.
Oh, yeah.
There it is. See it coming in?
Yeah.
Way to go, girl. Come on, chef. That's dinner. That's good.
Oh.
Now just lift up.
Right.
Lift up. And there you go.
Nice.
Give me 5.
It was a real thrill to land my first salmon, but it was too small and had to be released, so I turned up at the cannery empty-handed. St. Jean's Cannery and Smokehouse is BC's largest and has been in business for over 50 years. Matt Carter is showing me around.
So Matt, you brought me to some fish. Finally some fish.
I know exactly, none on the boat, but more than enough in here indeed.
This
so.
is amazing. This
Yes.
is like a veritable hive of activity. What's going on? Tell me.
Really busy pretty much all summer long. So we're basically on our main cutting line right here. So any of the fish that comes in, whether sport fish, commercial fish, is basically all cleaned, processed by hand right here. So obviously first clean it up, so heads off, guts out, that sort of thing.
Right.
And then cut up into the proper sizes, whatever process is going to be. Some of this fish is going to turn into steaks, some will turn into fillets, some might go into candied strips. So we're all setting it up here for the rest of the process. All right, so now we've gone from the filleting line, the cutting line, to the canning area. Obviously here, it's not mechanically separated. So obviously we actually have good, honest folks there cutting up the fish by hand and also packing it by hand as well, weighing it to make sure the fill weight is proper, and it's also only the best chunks of fish that get in there.
They pack each can by hand, which means more fish per can.
Okay, Matt, this is very loud. It looks very hot and very much under pressure. What am I looking at?
As much as I'd like to say it's our employee sauna room, it's actually the big drums that actually pressure cook and can the canned salmon and tuna. So basically each of these sort of large drums has sort of another big smaller drum inside, has more than 2,000 cans in there.
Wow.
Basically warmed up, heated up with natural gas, so it's nice and quick. Cooking time, you're looking at around 2 hours at more than 200 degrees.
The fish is cooked in the can rather than being pre-cooked.
So what most commercial canneries will do is they'll cook the fish, then they put it in the can. They have to add oil, water, or filler to keep it from dehydrating, and then cook it again when it gets canned. So for here, we're packing it raw with just a pinch of sea salt. Any moisture in there is from the fish itself. So, you know, most cans you open up, you got to drain it all out first.
Yeah.
With this one,
It's
the only
straight
moisture
from
is
the
straight
fish.
from the fish, and so you don't have to drain it. It's almost like a tuna or salmon steak in a can.
And the end result is this.
So this is what we saw on the line.
Exactly,
And that's
yep.
incredible, that amount of liquid that comes from it.
Exactly, yeah, just that, and obviously you see, so the texture nice and strong, so
Yeah,
again, just more like
beautiful.
a salmon steak in a can, so.
May I?
You may, absolutely.
I'm excited. It's just such a unique
Drum roll, please.
experience.
Yeah, exactly. Enjoy it.
I have to admit, I don't often have canned salmon, but that's phenomenal. That's just, yeah, not overly salty, just true
Yep.
wild Pacific salmon.
Absolutely, yep.
St. Jean's also smokes fish and seafood.
So in front of us here, we have some candied salmon strips and also some peppercorn candied salmon nuggets. So basically hot smoked and then glazed with some Western Canadian honey, so please do enjoy.
All right, so the honey is BC as well, Alberta, BC.
Yep, exactly.
To me, this is the island. This is Vancouver Island.
Oh, absolutely, yeah, exactly. Yeah, Pacific Northwest, wild fish. I mean, a lot of it's just caught here in BC waters, right here and processed right here in Nanaimo.
Back on the Nanaimo Bar Trail, and I'm discovering that it features a lot more than just traditional Nanaimo bars. You can try a Nanaimo Bar cupcake at A Wee Cupcakery, which is an obvious hit with the locals. Or why not pick up a pattern for a Nanaimo Bar quilt? With over 35 different places on the trail, You'll need to stop off for a Nanaimo bar pedicure.
The Nanaimo bar pedicure really incorporates all the different components of the Nanaimo bar, including the coconut sugar scrub. It comes with a very nice chocolate mask and a vanilla cream custard massage. And our Nanaimo bar pedicure is the only treat that is 100% calorie free.
I'm aboard a train about to head out across the range in search of bison, though I'm still just outside of Nanaimo. This is the Morning Star Bison Ranch, where visitors can get up close to these animals, and Buffalo Bill Wilson is taking me out to meet the herd. They look peaceful enough, grazing around us, and even eating out of my hand, but it's safer to stay aboard the train.
Sometimes I get caught by the herd crossing the field. But so when I'm out with the herd, I like to either have a tractor by me or have some kind of a way out. Because if a situation was to arise, I mean, these creatures here, they can get running from 0 to 40 kilometers an hour in 3 steps.
That's incredible.
Yeah, your
And
car,
just
your
that
car can't
mass.
your car can't do that.
Yeah.
Yeah, and just that mass. Yeah, he's probably weighing in right now. He's a bit light, but he's probably weighing in at about 1,500 pounds.
Wow.
And you wouldn't want to get hit by him.
No.
Yeah.
Are there any challenges that you face specifically with bison?
Well,
raising bison?
one of the challenges is that is fences. They can be hard on fences, you know. And if a bison can see over the fence, it's not there. So they just jump over like a deer.
Now that would be a sight to see.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is.
Now, obviously, they're in just like pasture land, but
Yeah.
so they eat everything, every grassy thing.
Well, yes, they sure do. And here they've got typical hayfield
Or
mixes.
Canadian flags.
Well, they'd eat that too, probably. And that's going to go. Yeah.
If you don't like it, just move.
Oh, there we go. Okay. Well, see, that's what I mean by Canada Grade A. See, they eat the Canadian flag, they're Canada Grade A. Did he eat it or just? Oh, he's got it in his mouth. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. He's a proud Canadian bison. You see that?
Yes. Is that Mr. Attitude by any chance?
That is Mr. Attitude. Yeah. Yeah. Did he drop that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why do you do what you do? Most people raise cows. They like big animals.
Well, I did raise cows at one time. I raised a registered Aberdeen Angus.
Okay.
But then when that mad cow disease
Right.
came to Canada, it just killed the beef market for 10 years.
Right.
And I was always sort of interested in the bison. And the opportunity just came about that I ended up buying 24 calves.
Wow.
Yeah, and from there, they've procreated.
So really, this is the animal that, you know, when you think about 150 years ago in the prairies, that this is that they would go as far as the eye could see.
Really, millions and millions. Yeah, they're especially down in the States.
Incredible.
Yeah, millions of them, and they all got killed off. Right down to only 1,000 left. It's been because of private ranchers that have brought the numbers back.
Right.
Because of the quality of the meat.
Bob has about 90 bison and supplies meat locally, as well as serving up delicious bison burgers.
It smells good too.
You know, it's just that notch above just your typical burger. Like it's just really nice, rich, meaty taste, and then the texture is also just that step above. It's real meat. To finish my Nanaimo visit, I've dropped into the Modern Cafe. The Nanaimo Bar Trail lists several Nanaimo Bartinis, so I thought I'd better try one.
We're playing on the same kind of flavors. We're playing on the coconut and the vanilla and the chocolate mostly.
Okay.
With a little splash of Bailey's, we also throw in there to add a little bit of creaminess. For us, we're using Coven vodka, which is a local vodka, which is awesome. It's great to have on our menu. We're using vanilla vodka, and we're using creme de cacao. Other than that, in the Nanaimo bar, we have fresh espresso, fresh brewed espresso. And then we have heavy cream infused with coconut to get that coconut essence.
Lovely.
Then it gets shake.
After a hard day of adventures in Nanaimo, I'm looking forward to this. Oh yeah, I could get used to that. And actually, amusingly, quite true to the taste profile.
Excellent.
Nothing wrong with this.
Well, Allie, you can't win them all. You can't get a fish every time you go out. But as good as I am, even I can't make something up with Nanaimo bars and salmon. So what I'm going to do today is use some of St. Jean's cannery salmon and make a beautiful salmon and cucumber mousse. First of all, we have to start with the cucumber. Okay, we're going to peel it because the peel, although you can use the peel, it's a little bit tough, a little bit chewy. We want this to be nice and delicate and have some finesse in it. So we're going to take all the peel off the cucumber, slice them down the middle like so, and then lay it flat and slice it down the middle one more time so you end up with 4/4. And then with each of these, turn them over and just use the tip of the knife. And if you can see that seed pocket down the center, just run the knife down and get rid of that. So next thing we want to do is grate this. Just like that. We're going to put this into a strainer. If I take a little bit of salt, okay, and just blend that into the cucumber, that salt already is starting to suck the water out of the cucumber. So as you can see, I can just give it a good squeeze. See all that moisture coming out of there? Okay, I've got 1 packet of our gelatin powder, and I'm just going to sprinkle that over the cucumber water. And then just use the bowl itself, give it a little swirl, and that gelatin is now what we refer to as blooming. And we'll let that sit for a couple of minutes. Meanwhile, we've got our St. Jean's salmon, beautiful sockeye salmon. And what I want to do with this is I want all that beautiful juice out of the salmon. So I'm going to pour that into my pot here. And again, I'm going to do the same kind of thing here. I want to squeeze that excess moisture out. So just grab the salmon in your hand and give it a good squeeze. Try and get as much of that moisture out of there as you possibly can. Okay, and then we can drop that back into there. We're just going to warm up our salmon stock, which came out of the canned salmon. So you just have to get this warm enough to melt the gelatin. That's plenty. And this, now if you boil gelatin, you actually break it down and it will reduce its thickening power. All you want is the water to be warm enough so that that gelatin melts pretty much immediately. I don't really want it to come to the boil. There we go. And that's it. That's all it takes to get that gelatin melted. I'm going to pour that back into this bowl. Then that warm liquid, we'll just pick up any of those little bits of gelatin around the outside of the bowl there. So what I've got in here is my cucumber water, my gelatin, and that lovely salmon stock. We'll just let that cool down for a couple of seconds. Then we're going to take our salmon, okay, which has been squeezed dry, and that's going to go back in to our cucumber and gelatin mixture. And we'll just stir that in. Okay, there we go. Now remember, we salted the cucumber water already, so that is properly seasoned now. I'm just going to give it a little pinch of white pepper. Then we've got about 75 mils of mayonnaise, which is about 5 tablespoons. Okay, that's then going to go into the salmon mixture. And we just bring those two together into a nice smooth mix. There we go. Then we'll take our cucumber. That can then go in. And we'll just blend that through. I've got about 250 mils of whipping cream in here, nice cold bowl. Just bring that up to nice stiff peaks. Let the whip come under the cream every time the whip goes through. It's bringing a few more little bubbles of air into the cream, and the cream will whip up quite quickly. So we want to take this to nice firm peaks, which means when you lift the whip out, the peak just stands up, but just folds over nice and gently on itself. One last thing to go in is some little chiffonade of sorrel. This is that raspberry sorrel I get out of my garden. Okay, so then I'm going to pour in my salmon mixture to the cream, and I'm going to try and pour it around the edge. I don't want to dump it right on top of the cream because, of course, the mixture is heavy and it will squash the air out of the cream. And then using a nice folding action, literally you fold it with the spatula from below, you lift it and turn it over onto itself so that you keep all that air in the cream. Now what I've got here is one of my terrine molds, and what I've done is just lined it with some plastic wrap, and that just makes the removal a little bit easier. And then all we're going to do is gently pour our mixture into the mold and pop that in the fridge until it's set. And that should take probably an hour, 2 hours at the outside. If you can leave it overnight, that's even better.
Now, salmon mousse can go one of two ways. You can have it quite light, or you could have it much fuller bodied. Obviously, Steve's chosen to go quite light with those hints of cucumber within the mousse, and I've chosen actually one of my favorite whites. It is Venturi Schulze's Mille Fiori. Mille Fiori of a million flowers. I guess that's what I'm really pairing with. It's that really green, fresh, floral flavors. I think we'll play with the cucumber and really complement the salmon. While we were filming in Nanaimo, I accidentally came across Nanaimo's most recently opened brewery called White Sails. I, of course, had to go in and try some of their beers, and when I tried Steve's salmon, this one immediately jumped to my head. So it is their Departure Bay Session Ale. It's really light and crisp, and again, it just will not overwhelm that delicate salmon and cucumber flavor. It'll lift it a little bit because, again, it has that lightness to its flavor. Now, Departure Bay is also considered a session ale, and what that means is it does have lower alcohol. So when you're sitting on your deck eating this lovely salmon mousse, you can have more than one.
For more great recipes, ask for the Flavors of the West Coast cookbook in your local bookstore.